Turn that like that. So, I think we're live now. That's us live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So this is a bit of a test. We've never done a live stream. I've never done a live stream. I've watched plenty of them on YouTube. It's something I'm fairly familiar with, but just something new to try. You know, this may do really well. It may end up with lots of people watching. It may be a good experience for everyone, including us, or it might be. It might end up being a load of crap. I'm just going to turn that down. That's it. Bit disconcerting if we're sitting there hearing ourselves. So, what we were planning this to be is a bit about just talking about some pouchy rat stuff, some random animal news stuff. We've got some bits about our rats, some bits about other people's rats. Just a chance to have a good natter and a bit of gossip and bits. And what do you think?
I'm dying to laugh uncontrollably here because I've not watched a podcast before. I've not really listened to one, and I've certainly not been in one. So I'm losing my virginity tonight, and you can all watch.
This is all the power of the millennials. This is how it goes. So I thought we would start off with some nice light news, something that I read that was quite fun. So you probably remember reading about or seeing the videos that went round of the rat that was stuck in the drain cover. You obviously saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, that was everywhere. That was shared everywhere on Twitter. So there was a new one. Obviously, this has got everyone talking about rats and how they very, very good at getting themselves into places and maybe sometimes not so good at getting themselves out. So there was one, and this was it was some news that was taken from a New York subway station. And people had filmed a rat that had gone into one of the coin dispensers that obviously give out the tickets, and who couldn't get back out because obviously it's a one-way door and it got stuck back through. And the poor thing was trying to get back through. So obviously there's people filming it and laughing at their expense. And a couple of nice people were saying, "Oh, was the rat okay? Was the rat not okay?"
I've got an update on that story.
Oh, have you?
I have. That was at 1 a.m, I believe, on Tuesday. And by around 1 p.m. on Wednesday, they checked again to see if the animal was okay, and it was gone.
Oh, so it got itself out.
So the question is, did the animal get itself out, or did some really well-meaning passerby actually have the guts to stick their hand in there and rake it out? What would you have done? What would you have done?
What would I? Well, you know what I'd have done.
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
I'd have got in there and got it out.
Yeah, so would I. You wouldn't have had any fingers left, but yeah, I couldn't have left it there.
Oh no! Well, it was the same. I mean, this thing with the rat stuck in the drain cover. It was obviously a lot of people were there just taking pictures. Like, oh, isn't that funny? But obviously,
and the screaming was awful. That alone was good enough reason to get it out. But you know, all credit to the people that did, because there was a big army of people there that must have cost a fortune.
Well, they got the fire service out, didn't they?
All for a little rat.
Just for a little female that got her belly stuck in the little hole. They seem pretty good at that. I mean, ours are pretty good at getting into play, and it's cross species, but very, very good at getting themselves in places they shouldn't, and not so good at getting themselves back out.
Our pouched rats are a brilliant example of that. They're excellent climbers. Unfortunately, they're not as good on the way down. And we generally have to rescue ours from the top of the cage.
It is more of a controlled fall, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're not rushing.
They sort of slide and stick their claws in and hope for the best.
I mean, anyone who's had any sort of rats, they know the same. But when you sort of run over, you're like, no, don't jump down, and then you try and catch them, and yeah, we've done that many times, haven't we? And that goes with both.
Yeah. One of ours had a little adventure the other night.
Lois
went downstairs in the morning, and to my utter dismay, the cage door was open. Now, I don't know whether one of us had kind of left it on the latch a bit, or whether she had ramroded it. No. Whether she'd ramroded it open, because Lola was a very determined girl. We were beside ourselves because there's a baby in there as well. Luckily, Floki had the good sense not to follow his mum, and he was in bed asleep. Now, I was just about to set all the alarms off and scream and shout when she came along and just stood at my feet waiting for me to pick her up and put her back in the cage. The relief was indescribable, but if you want to tell everybody where she'd been in the course of...
Well, actually, you can kind of tell there's like a amount of destruction that they leave, because you can almost plan out, because we could watch, couldn't we? Could see, well, she obviously went there and chewed that a bit, and then went here and chewed that a bit, and then there was a bag that was ripped open, and...
Yeah, that was really resourceful, actually. I'd ordered a bag of paper cat litter, which I use in the litter trays for the fancy rats and for the pouchies. She must have smelt that. It does have a bit of a distinctive smell to it. Not a strong smell, but...
Well, she probably knows it from her cage.
She's like, a pouched rat, so she thought, oh, I know what that is in there. I'm going to rip the box open that it came in. And she'd stuffed a whole load under the kickboards in the kitchen.
And that's not the first time she's been under there, is it?
No. She was tiny, though, last time she did it.
She's obviously not forgotten, though.
Not at all. They never forget a thing. Their memories are just incredible and quite scary, really.
Well, this is it. I mean, we had this with Sally, didn't we? So we've got everyone who has any sort of animal of that sort has a hole in the sofa somewhere that some resourceful rodent has chewed at some point when they've been out. And we had our lovely leather sofa got chewed, and there was a hole that takes it inside all the wood and the bits and pieces, and many a times have we had to pull rats out of there that have gone in there.
I think we've had half a dozen easily that have gone in there and refused to come out. Yeah.
But once they know, and Sally discovered this hole, and she's not forgotten. Not a single second has she forgotten. And she'll dig and she'll cry and she'll moan and try her best to get in there. It's terrible. It's
barricaded off with a cushion, but that really doesn't stop her, does it?
No, it doesn't.
No. Pouchies never forget.
We can actually go on a bit about Sally, because I imagine, obviously, we kept up with all the goings on that we had when we were hand rearing her and bits and pieces, but and the odd pictures have been put up since. But I mean, she has turned into something quite spectacular, hasn't she?
Yeah, a spectacularly spoiled bitch, thanks to you. Yeah, I mean, I love Sally, don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore her. To have hand-fed her and to have laughed with her, cried with her, and got her to this stage is phenomenal. But I view her as a rat.
See, I don't. She's my surrogate rat daughter. Right, the thing is, I mean, picture this. So she is... she will now come up to the cage door when I come home from work and cry and moan to be picked up, and pouchies make this weird purring noise. How do you describe it? Like a
boing, 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 boing. Yeah.
And they do that when they're... And it's hard to get one of them out of them sometimes. Arthur does it for you.
Arthur views me as some sort of attachment
I've
object.
Never had one do it
Sally
for me.
does it to you.
Yeah, so...
what else did she do to you the other night that Arthur does to me?
Oh, yeah. So Arthur has this thing of humping Claire. And I've always...
Not for real.
No, they're like... They sort of mock mount, like they sort of come up and they mock mount your arm like that very quickly, like, and then it's... We have no idea what it means. I assume it's some sort of nice thing.
Oh, well, I hope it's a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, they only do it to ones they like.
Got to get it from somewhere.
But secretly, I was kind of jealous. None of them want to hump my arm.
You have strange tastes.
Well, you know. It's endearment. If I had one that did, and I was so pleased when I was.
The bond's never been there.
I was standing there, my arm like this, and Sally come over and just went. And I was like, oh, she humped my arm. Oh, and then what happened that same night?
The tiny little 5-week-old baby Floki climbed on his hand and did it to his thumb.
And this is he's tiny at the moment, and just climbed onto my thumb and went. It's like, he's done it as well.
We're breeding Randy rats.
Obviously, that's no. Well, I just think it's anything that comes from Lois. Obviously,
she is a spectacular girl. She's a good example, I think, a fairly good example of a female in that she will tolerate some people, detest others, and she's just quite aloof. But she's been such a good mum.
She's. I mean, it was obvious with her from a very early age that that's what she wanted. She was very distant from humans, interested in other pouchies, but very. I suppose for anyone that's had, like, say, a cat when they come into season, or a dog that's in season, they act different to the day to day, and that's what she was getting like, wasn't she? It was almost like she's seeking. It was obvious that's what she wanted to do. She's built for that. She's got the body shape for it.
Yeah, Alice is now doing the same. Alice is 11 months old. She'll be a year old on the 16th of April. And she's now going through phases where she would be right in your face in free range. She'll be on the table, she'll be in front of you, she'll be running around the room. And they do get to a point where they make it very clear what they want. So watch this space. We might give it a go with Alice and find her a boyfriend at some point.
Well, hopefully. I mean, there's a number of us in the UK that are trying to get some lines, trying to get some sort of organisation in terms of how these guys are bred and who's put with who, because I think that's one of the more important parts. And then the second important part for us anyway is who they go to. And we're trying to do it so that we don't technically have waiting lists, because I think if you have a waiting list and you say to people, well, yeah, we'll put you on the waiting list, you almost put a false sense of hope on them that they're going to get one. And it's so hard to say, yes, you're going to get one. You've got to try and match the animal to the people, haven't you? That's the biggest thing.
I think that is a slightly different way that we're going to be going with this. I think also that, when the breeding pattern gets established, we can't keep inordinate amounts of these rats because we both work full time and they wouldn't get what they need. And what we're hoping to do is to rehome males and females with people that we know and that we trust, and either people with experience or people who are really in it to learn, like we all are, and then they can raise litters and we can sleep.
It's the extraordinary noise that the babies make is. I mean, this is the first year. This is the first year that we've had any luck at all, and it wasn't even that we were trying, really, was we? With this sort of. I mean, we've been trying quite a while with Lois, but not really. Well,
Bob and Lolo lived together for 6 months without actually breeding. They're not like fancy rats where you can put two together and be pretty confident that they'll go for each other.
I mean, are you like me? I'm quite relieved. I mean, coming from both me and Claire have bred fancy rats for a long time. I first, and then Claire sort of took over, and how. It's so easy to get out of hand with how quickly they breed, isn't it? For inexperienced breeders, we'll just put anything together. I'm really relieved that these guys don't breed like that. Mm. I have a feeling. I mean, the fact that Sally was born, and then we were able to have Floki not long after, proves to me that once they've paired, it's almost easier.
It's easier,
but it's getting that pairing.
Yeah.
And I'm relieved at that.
And Lolo needed that, I think. It wasn't for lack of trying. She didn't formally reject the baby, and milk just dried up. And after it dried up, she didn't seem to know what to do. And a couple of times she laid on her and didn't get up. So we had no choice. It was either have the baby put to sleep or try and hand rear it. And it was a nightmare. It was an absolute physical, emotional and financial. Actually, she was at the vet's a few times. It was a nightmare. I would not want to do that again. And
no.
I don't know what the benefits are versus the disadvantages, because Sally thinks she's a human being. I'm not doing this anthropomorphizing thing with her like you do.
Oh, yeah, but
She thinks she's a human being. She will not tolerate any other animals, and she doesn't know how to behave around them.
the thing
So,
is, you have got to take it with one hand and the other, because I
yeah,
feel like, I mean, I love her to pieces. Like, I have a relationship with Sally that I've never had with any other. I mean, I have spent my entire life with animals. Anyone who knows my personal history of animals knows that that's what I've always done. I have never had a relationship like I have with Sally with anyone else, any other rat.
anyone
Anyone
else
else? No.
is.
With any
Told
other
you.
animal other than Sally. So that sort of shows how. But at the same time, I would never set out to create more Sallys, because I don't think it's in her best
It is
interest.
not ethical. The whole time that we were raising her,
We were
I
questioning.
used that word so often. Is this an ethical choice? I felt like we had no choice
It
at
was
all.
a desperation choice, but
She
yeah,
would have
yeah.
died. But the ethical aspects of hand raising an animal that is semi-wild was odd.
I bet anyone who's.
She's wonderful.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
go and get her in a minute and let everyone see her.
I guess
Yeah.
anyone that's raised like wild animals, or that foster wild animals,
Yeah,
has the same thing where you want to get attached to them, and that you see them getting attached to you, but you've got to keep that distance. And we couldn't do this to her because she needed us,
No.
and she was going to be a pet. It's different. But yeah, I mean, I would never. And this is a question someone did put to me when we went through all the stuff with Sally, was that, due to the way that she's turned out, is that not how you want to get with pouch rats? And the answer is yes. You want them to be like you would love every pouch rat to be like Sally, but not almost in the kind of I use the term like broadly, but brainwashed way that Sally is, because of her upbringing, and not because of pure genetics, which is how most animals have been domesticated.
So what's happened with Sally is it's very artificial.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, that's exactly the.
But having said that, Floki, the little boy that Lolo had, who's going to Annette Reynolds, if you're watching, hello. He's marvellous. He's 6 weeks old tomorrow. He hasn't had the same input. He's been out every day. He's been handled. He's been nip trained because he was a bit of a biter, but he is absolutely lovely. All he wants to do is snuggle, and he wasn't hand reared.
But this is the difference that, when we say he's out every day for being handled, I mean we're not just saying that for our own benefit. He actually is, and not because we feel like we have to, but because we want to.
His mum's done all the hard work.
Oh yeah. She's done all the work.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like Lolo to have more babies, and because she's having single babies every litter, she's not daft, and she's also quite lazy. I think she's just deliberately releasing one egg every time. She's very, very clever, Lolo.
But that's worked for us.
I want her to have more.
Yeah.
She loves the babies.
I would love to see us where we have a litter, we get to know what the personality of the animals are like, and we can start to match them up, and we say, well, this one's a little bit more nippy, he's a little bit more harder to handle, so owner A would be perfect because they've got experience with pouches and they can work with him. But owner B, they've never had pouches before, they need someone who's a lot easier, so this particular rat would be that would be the way that I would like to see it work. And that's that's not just personally me and Claire, but across the society, for everyone to be working to that same level, where we're trying to match the right owners to the right rats, and we're not working on waiting lists.
Yeah, I think that is the way to go, because these animals are very, very headstrong, they're very stubborn. And it's becoming apparent that from a very, very young age, I mean within a couple of weeks, you're getting a feel for their personality. I know now that Floki's personality is going to be pretty much a cuddly rat.
I think he's quite a cuddly man.
Yeah, you'll get him out. I get him out. I put him on my lap, see what he wants to do, and he might have a little sniff around, and then he just comes and curls himself up, buries his head in the corner of my arm, and cuddles, and he's lovely. And I do love him, and I will be a little bit sad when he goes. But again, because we knew virtually from birth that he was going to another home, it's been more like surrogacy.
Yeah,
We've not become
that
attached to
going
Floki.
off to
Yeah, and to be able to give somebody else that joy, it's not about the money. It's not. It just doesn't matter.
I want to be in the position where when we're letting the litters go, we are. I mean, you can never be 100%, but 99% sure we've made the right decision with the right people, and they're going to go off and have the right life. That would be happy place.
Yeah, notwithstanding an absolute disaster like someone on the verge of eviction or something, and they haven't expected it. In which case, they're our babies and would have them back.
Oh, always. They've always got a home with us.
We've completely digressed from anything we were going to talk about.
Well, we kind of have. We did do a rough list of things, but just looking through some of the chat things there. So, I mean, I think we should invite Maggie over to the UK, and she can just babysit all our pouches while we're at work. I think that would.
Can we go on holiday? Because we're not likely to get a holiday again for the next million amount of years.
Yeah, here you go, Maggie. Maybe we can do a swap. Yeah. You can come here, and you can have a holiday with the pouches. And we'll
it'd
go
be
over
lovely,
there.
Maggie. You really
that would
it.
work. We can do a life swap.
Yeah, Bob doesn't bite at all. He's great.
Bob doesn't bite.
He bit you last night.
He didn't. He did. We did a bit. Just a little bit.
He's an entire buck, and he's getting a bit frustrated because he can't have his Lolo at the moment, and all he does is call to his Lolo, purr to his Lolo, make funny
sings
noises.
At the bars,
He sings to it.
We've not put them straight back together. Our plan, really, for the last part of this quarter, going into next, is that when the spring comes along, we can maybe put them back together then and see what happens.
Yeah.
We want to know that Lolo's. I mean, Lolo's only had now she's had two babies.
She's just had two babies, but she didn't raise one at all.
Yeah, so there's not a huge drain on her personally.
The toll it would take on a body of an exceptionally large, healthy female to have one baby is probably quite negligible. I'm happy for corrections if I'm wrong, but if we give her a month or so to recover, now that Floki's stopped feeding, maybe we can try again. When the nights get lighter, when the days get longer, she may actually ovulate. More than one egg, Lolo.
And make sure the milk doesn't dry up.
Yeah, she can have a proper litter.
It's going to be interesting.
More than one.
It's going to be interesting.
It's fantastic.
My biggest worry is because they seem to pair bond in such a way that, and I know this isn't just our problem. I mean, I know other breeders that have said the same thing. But what's more ethical? Do you leave the male in, because the male will? I mean, in the wild, the male will stay with the female and help raise the babies. So she's getting help. She's getting a male and they do bring food for the female. The males are very nurturing. Actually, they will make a nest and they'll build a nest around the female. We know this because we've got Arthur, who is neutered, and he lives with Alice, who's his companion, and he does all of that with her. Yeah.
They're lovely. Actually, they're all lovely.
So I wonder, because we obviously didn't leave Bob in with Lois for these two.
They would just have back-to-back litters. You couldn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's you obviously don't want them to have back-to-back litters, but you also don't want to separate them out and then cause them to pine to each other like Bob has.
What is ethical? What is right? It is so difficult. So any views that people have got, we put that to the floor. Not taken critically. I think that we're all learning together. We're no expert by any means. We've put in an awful lot of work in a short space of time, but we are not expert.
Oh no, I'm not pretending. I don't want to. I think neither of us want to be the face of anything.
I think the exciting thing for us is that we've met so many really worthwhile owners and potential owners, and that we're all learning together. Nobody's better than anybody else or cleverer than anybody else. We are literally all in it together, and that's what we're aiming for.
I just want to go. I don't know what streams I tried to set up so it goes to the various streams. If any of these are not working, I apologise in advance. In fact, I can do a quick check and see whether they're.
Well, while you're quick checking,
they seem to be.
Yeah, while you're quick checking on that, you can hold the fort for a couple of minutes. It's almost 8:30, so perhaps it's time for a guest speaker.
We can have a guest speaker. While we're doing guest speaking, why don't we? If there's anyone that has any questions, any comments, I think at the moment we've only got YouTube up. So if anyone's on YouTube,
you could tell them about the menu in the Mekong Delta.
Oh yeah. So I was wondering what people made of this. So I was trying today to desperately find some rat-related news, and there's a surprising amount of rat-related news. And this was one that stuck out for me, and it was a little bit hard on the stomach reading it, but each their own. So this was an article done by National Geographic, and it was that the Mekong Delta, which is obviously a region in Vietnam, produces 3,600 tons of live rats per year, purely for eating, and the industry is worth $2 million. And these rats are sold on menus across north and south. Now, these are not obviously Norway rats; these are rats specific to these regions. But it's a bit of an eye opener seeing that. It really was.
We're not going to eat you, are we? We're not going to eat you.
Sally hasn't seen Daddy today.
Water up to the camera so people can see.
Hello, Sally. Hello, Sally. Hello. Hello. So she has this little thing where she likes licking up noses. Are you still half asleep, sweetie? Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can clean me eyebrows.
She tries to do that to me. I can't bear it. It's horrible.
Oh yeah.
We love you.
I don't mind because we love our Sally.
We love you, but not that much.
No. See, I've got in a habit now of I work from home 2 days a week, and she stays with
How
me.
big she's got.
What? Oh, she's big now. She's a big girl.
Put me down. I hate you. I hate you. Hello, sweetie. Oh, stretch.
She's just very, very confident in human hands compared to. I mean, I'm not saying that the others are not confident. They would rather be on the floor. For example, if you put them on the sofa, the others just get down. Whereas she will stay on the sofa. She's got very little interest in going elsewhere. She's just more than happy on the sofa. It's odd compared to the others. And obviously this is not what they are like. It's all very strange, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, she's fantastic, I think.
Very, very vocal.
Very, very vocal, yeah. She probably hears us talking and she's thinking that she's talking as well.
Now, this is what I was. So I was saying this the other day, wasn't I? I noticed, and if anything, it kind of outlines how quick their brain is. But if I talk to her, I mean, this goes for both of us. We talk to her, and she will reply with a squeak, but she does it almost instantaneously when we start speaking.
Yeah. What's it all about? Whoa, that's horrible. That's horrible.
You're definitely more vocal than everyone else, aren't yourselves?
There you go, then. Go to Daddy.
No.
Yeah, so that just about wraps it up for now.
I think so. Is there anything else we were going to go through? I had a couple of good things. So, if anyone was on our Facebook group, they might have seen about a rescue called Cecil that we were trying to find a home for. So, brilliant. We're in the midst of getting Cecil to a new home. He's actually travelling almost the length of the country to get to a new home, but we found he's found a new home, and that's brilliant. That is partly why we're here, is just to act as that middle ground. I mean, the role that we had in this rescue was the new owner approached us. We made them aware of all the ins and outs, everything that you're in a clean there, sweetheart. All the ins and outs of what's involved, and I'm not going to name names of who's who because I don't think that's fair on the public forum. But I went out of my way to lay it all bare for the new owner, to say that this rat is very difficult, very, very unhandleable, psychologically damaged due to his past.
Poor Cecil, he did not have the same start in life as these do. He's been bred for financial gain, probably more than anything else.
But at the end of the day, she went away. The best thing, I mean, what I like to see in potential rescuers is that they don't just go, yeah, I can deal with that. Especially if they're a brand new owner and they've never had pouch rats, it's a big ask. But to say, oh, I do need to think about this, it's a big undertaking. And then to come back and say, but do you know what, I'm willing to give it a go. And yeah, I've not a shadow of doubt now in my mind, and I think he's going to a good home, and it's relieving, because I think every time a rescue's come up with, not only have we expanded our little circle,
yeah,
but found homes. I mean, Yena's a perfect example
Yeah, I
of
was just going to say that, down to our good long-standing rat friend Annette taking a chance on Yena, who was again a very difficult and disturbed rat who needed a lot of intensive care towards the end of her life. Down to her dedication, she's now going to have a beautiful baby boy in 3 weeks' time. So yeah, there are happy endings. That's what we want to see.
No, we'll wrap up in a little bit. If there's any questions or anything that anyone wants to put, whack them on the chat on Twitter on YouTube now, and we can. There's a bit of a delay between what we see and what you see, so get them up and we can quickly answer them at the end.
Just keep whacking.
Just keep whacking.
Keep whacking.
Just keep pouching. Keep pouching.
That's us all unpouched for now, I think. So
I think that is us unpouched. So this has been a bit of a trial run. I don't know if we'd struggle to find stuff every week, but it's been fun. I've looked forward to preparing this stream and learning about how the streaming works. So if this is good, if you want to tune in every week and listen to us rambling about some random stuff, we can go over more things broadly related to animals, not just rats, but all sorts. Keep up to date with society news. Keep up to date with what's going on in the society with our various many pouched friends.
Yes. Hairy bum.
Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel already, and let us know so we know that we can keep doing this.
Yeah,
because
all ideas welcome, please.
I would quite like to keep doing these, but I need to know that it's something people want. I'm not expecting a huge audience of hundreds of people, as much as nice
I am.
hundreds of people tuning in to listen to our ramblings. You know, just to do something for the community is good, and this is the sort of stuff I do for a job, so I'm happy to give back. If people want it, let us know and we'll keep doing it. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm already see people are already saying they're looking forward to the next one, so that's brilliant. We'll call it a day at that, I think. Yeah, and
why not?
We'll reschedule another one if that's what people want. So bye for now, folks.
Bye.
We'll call it a day.